Hi, welcome to the Oklahoman studios. I'm Phil O'Connor, the Live Enterprise Director, and I'm with Ben Felder, our crack reporter from the Watchdog Desk. Wanted to go over a little bit of the information about today's elections. We've got quite a few issues on the ballot. Ben, let's start off with the race in Norman for the Oklahoma House of Representatives.
Yeah, House District 46. It's in Norman. It's the west side of Norman, kind of a more affluent, more conservative part of town. It doesn't include that kind of city center that's a little bit more progressive in terms of its voting. This is a special election to fill the seat vacated by Representative Scott Martin, who left to take a job with the Norman Chamber of Commerce. We have a Republican and a Democrat. The Republican is Darren Chambers. The Democrat is Jacob Rosecrans, maybe a familiar name. He actually ran against Martin last year. He's a public school teacher and is running again. I think the thing that makes this race the most interesting to watch is Democrats are hopeful that they can maybe steal another seat. They've had some success in these special elections going back the last couple of years. They won a state Senate and a state House seat earlier this summer. If you talk to a lot of Republicans, they'll say those two that they won earlier this summer, yeah, those were transitioning districts in terms of the demographics. Today's one, I think they feel like they have a little bit better chance of holding on. The story shortly is that if Democrats are able to win this seat, it'll be an even bigger victory for them, and go a long way to show that the last several seats that they've won, may be a part of a transitioning electorate statewide. Okay, great.
And then we've got a whole slew of items on the ballot in Oklahoma City. Another MAPS type vote.
Yeah, almost $1 billion in a slate of measures that are going to be in front of Oklahoma City voters. This includes an extension of the MAP 3 sales tax, money that's going towards public safety, hiring more firefighters and police officers, something the city has not been able to do over the last decade, despite the fact that the city's been growing. A lot of street resurfacing projects, nothing really sexy in these ballot measures.
A lot more nuts and bolts kind of
stuff.
Yeah,
people hear MAPS and MAPS extension. They're used to big projects like the convention center, the streetcar, the downtown arena and stadium. But this one is to put together some infrastructure projects, mainly with roads. There's some trails and bike infrastructure as well. And like I said, the hiring of public safety officers. And there's also an extending an incentive fund that the city has used to try to bring jobs. A lot of that money has gone towards big corporations that have agreed to set up shop here in Oklahoma City.
And of course, MAPS, traditionally these kinds of votes have enjoyed pretty strong voter support. Are we seeing much opposition this time?
Well, I don't know that we're seeing a lot of opposition. This race, I think it's fair to say it's somewhat flown under the radar. There hasn't been a huge campaign, a month-long campaign building up to it. I mean, the city have been talking about what to do with the MAPS as it gets ready to expire. This is a really kind of pro-chamber. They always have been. The MAPS votes have always been really backed by the chamber. But I think city leaders and the Chamber of Commerce have come together and say, hey, we need to inject a little bit of cash into infrastructure and public safety. Some of those things that are not necessarily, like I said, those sexy items that we see in the big projects. However, I think city officials are hopeful this will pass because roads and public safety, they always play well with voters. Especially with those who are more of your core voters, and that's going to be the case on September. This isn't a big election that I think you're going to see a large turnout like you would during a midterms or a presidential election.
Again, the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, and in that sheriff's race we have P.D. Taylor, Michael Hansen, Ed Grimes looking to take over for John Wetzel. A lot of interest in that race. Get out there and vote.